Zeldrizas Buzdari Ixos. Daor. In this video, I want to discuss, a few extra seconds of footage. This video is not going to be very long at all. Please do me a massive favor, make sure you're subscribed, but then also slap a like on this video and then turn your notifications all the way on. Long nights! Alright, so for those who are unaware, this was basically released as part of the Coming in 2022 teaser for HBO Max, and they basically used the same footage from the original teaser for House of the Dragon. Kind of frustrating, but some of the shots are extended. So instead of trying to break down the few seconds, I'll just play it right here and then break it down as it happens. Yeah. Alright, so we have that shot of Daemon walking through what I believe are the caves at Dragonstone. Perhaps this is the moment where he walks out to meet Rhaenyra on the beach, right? That's not really the extended shot, but this next one is. All right, and let's see. Then we have the same shot of Viserys gripping on the Iron Throne. That is potentially Blackfire. And then obviously his Targaryen signet ring. All right. Bunch of shows I don't give a shit about, except for a few of them. Obviously, Raised by Wolves, I broke down that trailer. If you want to go check that out, link down below in the description. There appears to be, this is the exact same from the teaser, maybe a little bit higher resolution, maybe a slightly awkward angle where you can see a few more Velaryons in the background. That's not the extended clip. Righteous Gemstones is a really funny fucking show, too. Pretty much anything Danny McBride does is hilarious. Obviously, Eastbound and Down is one of my favorite comedy TV shows. What the fuck is that from? Westworld? It's my girl, Zendaya. This isn't one of the extended shots either. This one isn't. We've obviously seen that. This last one was when Rhaenyra walks to meet Daemon on the Iron Throne. I know there's a lot of debate about who he's meeting, or who Rhaenyra is walking up to meet. Some people thought it could be Rhaenyra. Some people thought it could be Viserys. But in my opinion, since that's younger Rhaenyra, she's walking up to her uncle Daemon. Daemon is going to teach her the ways on how to pleasure a man and how to really rule the kingdom. Use your power to the best of your ability, right? That's what's going down in this scene. Hands down, she's walking up to meet Daemon on the Iron Throne. It shows you that Daemon is willing to do whatever it takes to get as close to power, like as close to the Iron Throne as possible, right? He never actually sits it, but this scene really shows you that juxtaposition of like Rhaenyra's next in line for the Iron Throne, but her uncle is already on the Iron Throne, right? So it's kind of like, the description of the show claimed that it's going to be starting with Daemon being named as Viserys' heir. That never happens in the books. Viserys never names Daemon as his heir because he knows what Daemon is capable of. He loves his brother. He puts up with so much shit from Daemon. It's not like he hates him and he's like a rival or something. No, that's not the case. He just knows that some of the things that Daemon does would not be the best for the Seven Kingdoms. He does offer Daemon positions of power, but ultimately sends him away when he does certain things, right? So he's still... It'll be an interesting dynamic, to say the least. But this scene right here, Rhaenyra's walking up to her uncle Daemon, who's sitting on the Iron Throne. It's going to be an interesting power dynamic because eventually, when we flash forward to the main timeline, obviously Rhaenyra is the one who is next in line for the Iron Throne. Eventually, seasons down the line, will sit the Iron Throne. So it'll be interesting to see what she learned from Daemon in this scene, and then how she uses it later, interacting, playing the game of Thrones, right? So this next one is the actual extended shot. This right here, this is Balerion. Balerion, the Black Dread skull. Looks like there still might be some meat on, that's the other extended shot. Looks like there still might be some meat on that skull. But I actually wanted to see if I can't pull it up full screen. Will that make it? Yeah, maybe that is just his skull, but that is an extended shot. We didn't have this much of the backdrop. It was more zoomed in on the front, and there was more smoke, and we didn't see, obviously, as many candles. They're obviously mourning the death of the biggest dragon that ever lived. Not only that, but this dragon was ruled by Aegon the Conqueror to conquer the Seven Kingdoms. He literally folded Westeros into one with this dragon. So if this show is starting with the death of Balerion, who was actually written by King Viserys, Daemon's brother, Rhaenyra's father, when he was younger. Basically, long story short, Viserys goes and jumps on Balerion and flies him halfway around the city, but then lands because he's afraid that Balerion couldn't make the trip. Balerion then dies shortly after that. So if they're starting with the death of Balerion, maybe they could adjust the timeline a bit, because this is not a mirror adaptation. It's a regular adaptation, which means some things are going to be lost in translation. But all of that aside, if they're going to be starting around the time when Balerion dies, when Viserys is younger, well, maybe this is confirmed that the very first scene will be a younger Rhaenyra. Everyone will be younger. It will be in that secondary timeline, right? Then we'll flash forward quickly. But then the next scene that was kind of extended for this little teaser, and then we'll get the fuck out of here, is this. Alicent looks like she is about to stab a motherfucker. And if you look at the background, we can actually see a little bit more. It appears as though right there, that's Laena Balerion. I don't know if you guys can see me pointing at that, but right over there, I'll drag my mouse to it, right here. That's Laena Balerion. That confirms that this takes place at Driftmark. That also confirms that when her son Aemon goes to conquer, maybe that's not Laena because she's supposed to be dead. That's probably just a regular Velaryon, right? So Laena rides Vhagar. She dies. Aemon claims Vhagar at Driftmark at Laena's funeral, and in doing so, he's spotted by one of Rhaenyra's children. He obviously calls for his older brothers, and then when Aemon lands, there's a scuffle. He loses an eye. Right after that is this scene, right? Shortly after that. Obviously, Alicent's son lost an eye. She's going to want one of her stepdaughter's sons to lose an eye as well. That's only just, right? It's very, very similar to when Prince Joffrey was bit by Nymeria. And of course, Cersei wanted Nymeria to die. Arya knew that was going to happen, released Nymeria into the woods, and then obviously we have Lady getting her head by Ned, right? Really fucked up scene. This is very similar to that, except for it involves actual people, right? So maybe it'll be, it's going to be nuts. So it looks like she's running, and there was, a couple of comments that were saying, oh, she's clearly stabbing something. I don't think she's stabbing something. No, I don't think she's stabbing someone. Let me clarify. I think she's stabbing the knife down on the table. And this is obviously a scene where Corlys, Viserys, maybe Daemon are all having a meal. That fight happens. Obviously, the boy, Aemon, runs to his mother, tells his mother what happens. And then obviously this is when she storms in and stabs the dagger on the table. She would never, it doesn't happen, but she didn't stab someone out in the open like that, right? That's much later after this scene. So I think that's it. I'll run through the rest of this real quick. Is that Ygritte? Oh, wow. Hello, Jon Snow's wife. I've got me a redhead downstairs. Yeah, I think that was it. All right, so this is a good point to wrap this video up. I want to thank you all so much for watching. It was 8 minutes. It was supposed to be really short, but, if you enjoyed this, slap a like on the video. The like goal is going to be 420. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Reviews. Oh, boom.